Well, we're hearing about Labour reaction to the local elections a short while ago with our correspondent. Now, Rishi Sunak has been out and about. He's been talking about the new government's plan to increase funding and allow pharmacists to do a lot more in the community.
Well, one of my 5 priorities is cutting waiting lists, and today's announcement is getting on with that, and it's about primary care, expanding access to services that people can get from their pharmacy, but also investing in general practices, in surgeries to end the 8 a.m. scramble. Now, when it comes to pharmacies, what we are doing is providing them with extra money so that people can go to their pharmacy and get medicines for common ailments like earaches, sore throats, throat infections, those kinds of things that people will be able to practically go to their pharmacies for, save them a visit or a call to the GP, because everyone loves their pharmacies. I know firsthand, growing up, what a difference they make to people's lives, and it's right that we're backing them to do more.
There are fewer pharmacies though, aren't there?
Yeah, but we're investing more in them. 80% of the country lives about 20 minutes walk from a pharmacy, and for many people, they're an easier place to access than their surgery. That's why we're investing more in them and allowing them to do more. And it's not just more medicines that people will be able to get there. They'll be able to get more blood pressure checks or indeed contraception as well. So we're expanding the range of services that people can get from their pharmacies. That's good. It will ease pressure on the system, mean that people can get access to the healthcare they need quicker, and it backs all our fantastic pharmacies as well with extra funding.
Let's talk about GPs though. Let's be clear about this, because there's a little bit of confusion this morning. You're not going to hit this target, are you, of 6,000 GPs? Manifesto pledge by 2024.
I tell you what, so what we are doing on GP numbers is straightforward. So right now, there are almost 2,000 more doctors working in general practice than there were in 2019. But also, and I can speak with some knowledge of this, it is the case that not everyone needs to see a GP. My dad was a GP, my mum was a pharmacist. So the other thing that we're doing is investing in lots of other roles. And there are actually 25,000 more staff working in primary care more generally. If you talk to patients at this practice that we're at, they get fantastic care from their nurse to treat them for asthma, another nurse for diabetes, or a physiotherapist, all different roles that we're investing more in so that people can get the care they need and allows GPs to focus on what only they can do. But we are massively expanding the number of people working in primary care, and at practices like this, it's making a huge difference to patients.
But just very specifically, I don't push you on this, but it is not going to be met, that 6,000 figure. Can you just say that's correct?
Well, what we are going to be doing is bringing forward shortly a plan for the long-term plan for the NHS workforce. Now, right now we have record numbers of people in GP training. That's a good thing. But we want to significantly expand the number of specialist GPs working. So the long-term NHS workforce plan will set out our ambitions and how we're going to deliver that. But they're already record numbers. We want to go further. But as well as GPs, it's really important that we also consider all the other roles in primary care. And as I said, we're investing in tens of thousands more nurses, physiotherapists, pharmacists as well to do more. That makes a big difference to patients. These are really practical things that, as I said, ease the 8 a.m. scramble, make it easier to get the care that you need for you and your family.
OK, let's move on to a few other subjects we can. Let's talk about protesters and what happened at the coronation on Saturday. Now, yesterday you supported police. Yesterday the Met apologised to those protesters. In the end, it isn't the problem, actually. Operationally, police will make decisions on a day-to-day basis. It's the law that you brought in. It's too wide. Don't you think it needs to be looked at again, as even some of your MPs suggest it should be looked at again?
The first thing to say about the weekend is an enormous thank you to everyone involved in making sure that everything went off so smoothly and was so successful. Lots of people worked incredibly hard, including the police, to make sure that that happened, and I'm very grateful to all of them, as I think everyone will be. Now, with regard to protests, what I'd say is, of course, people have the right to protest freely but peacefully, but it is also right that people have the ability to go about their day-to-day lives without facing serious disruption. And what the government has done is give the police the powers that they need to tackle instances of serious disruption to people's lives. I think that's the right thing to do, and the police will make the decisions on when they use those powers.
But was there nothing that happened that made you feel uncomfortable? You're right, we live in a democracy. People have got the right to protest. These people didn't have the right to protest. They were stopped from even protesting. Did that make you feel a bit uncomfortable?
Well, we also live in a society where the police are rightly operationally independent of government, right? They make the decisions on the ground in the way that they see fit. That's the way that we've always done it. That's the right way to do it. It wouldn't be right for me to interfere with their operational decisions, but it is right for the government to give the police the powers they need to tackle serious disruption, because as we've seen over the last weeks and months, there are lots of instances of people's day-to-day lives being seriously disrupted by protesters, and people have rightly asked, well, why isn't that being stopped? So it is right that the government gives the police the powers to deal with those things, but again, those are operational decisions for the police on the ground at the time.
Okay, just two final questions. One on the local election results. Has it sunk in just how badly you guys did last week? I mean, more than 1,000 seats. Is it just going to be enough to talk about your 5 key targets repeatedly over and over again?
Well, obviously disappointing to lose hard-working Conservative councillors. I know that the country wants us to focus on their priorities, and I've set out 5 very clear priorities: to halve inflation, grow the economy, reduce debt, cut waiting lists, and to stop the boats. And today that's what we're doing. We're getting on and delivering. We're cutting waiting lists in primary care by expanding the range of services you can get from your pharmacist, by investing in GP practices to end the 8 a.m. scramble. Those are practical things that will make a difference to people's lives, improve their lives for the better. Now look, I know that's not going to happen overnight, but what I can tell people is we are working day and night to make their lives better. The priorities that I set out, I believe, are the right ones. They're the country's priorities, and we'll keep working to deliver them.
Okay, and just very finally, President Putin's been speaking in Moscow this morning, talking about how the West is provoking conflicts, encouraging Russophobia and nationalism. Just your response to his speech today, again attacking the West at a time in which we may well see increase, and we have seen increase in attacks in Ukraine.
There's only one person who's responsible for the illegal and unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, and that's President Putin. And the crimes that are being committed are appalling. The suffering that is being inflicted on the Ukrainian people is appalling, and that's why it's right that we remain steadfast in supporting the people of Ukraine to stand up to that aggression, and that's what I and the United Kingdom will continue to do.